What's up, guys? Carolina Jackpot coming at you. It's June 17th, 2021. It's hot this afternoon here in the upstate of South Carolina, so I'm under the old umbrella. Keep my dome piece from roasting and the rest of my beautiful body as well. Thanks for joining me here today. I want to talk a little bit of college football, and I want to talk an article that I read today over on 24/7 Sports. In the off season, it can be a bit problematic to come up with ideas for content for your videos other than the prediction videos, the win-loss prediction videos that I like to do. And it's a bit too early to do those. And be honest with you, I'm only going to do a few of those this year, mainly South Carolina and maybe 5 or 6 teams that are really close, rivals of ours in our conference, near and dear to my heart, what have you, because it gets to be a grind to do those videos. When you really want to go in and do an educated deep dive on them, like I did a couple of years ago on Nebraska, which is one of my most viewed videos of all time, and I have no idea why. I had a lot more spare time to do it then. But generally, I don't think that people want to see a guy from South Carolina with a Southern twang to his voice do a preview video on the Wisconsin Badgers. I just don't see that happening. So today I want to talk about reasons for optimism for the SEC teams in 2021, and notably SEC East teams. I'm going to go back and do the SEC West teams another day. But we've got a couple of new coaches in this division of the SEC. They're being at Vanderbilt, South Carolina, and Tennessee for 2021. We have a second-year head coach also in Eli Drinkowitz at Mizzou. So we could see a bit of shakeup in the SEC East. Where I don't think we're going to see a shakeup is at the very tippy top. I think that my video that I did predicting the SEC East order of finish a couple of weeks ago, which I'll link down in the description box below, will bear that out pretty clearly that I think Georgia's the team to beat. However, every team in here has something that they can hang their hat on for 2021, something to give them a little bit of hope. Let's start with the Vanderbilt Commodores. Obviously, it's the fact that you got a new coach in there. You got some new blood in Clark Lee, a Vanderbilt alumnus and former player, taking over the reins for Derek Mason. The article says it was a disastrous final season for Derek Mason. Yeah, it was. Okay, you went 0-9 in SEC play. The 10th game, obviously, against Georgia. They tried to play it, but you had too many COVID issues going on there, so they couldn't play the game. Yeah, it was disastrous from a one-loss standpoint, but you had several games there that you were competitive in against teams that you had no business being competitive with. There being Florida and Texas A&M at the beginning of the year. You also really competitive with Kentucky and Mississippi State, 2 teams that were better than you. Looking at the 2021 Commodores, you've got a lot of offensive production coming back. A young quarterback in Ken Seals, who went through some growing pains last year, should be better this year with a new offensive coordinator. If Clark Lee can instill some additional toughness there and, you know, a little bit of attitude with Vanderbilt, it could be a good thing. I honestly was not a huge fan of this hire. I like Derek Mason. I mean, I thought he was a good head coach. I thought he did good things at Vanderbilt, but man, just winning 0 games, whether you don't have any non-conference games in there or whether you do, it's going to get you shown the door, and that's exactly what happened to him. Offensive production that's coming back. A lot of people not talking about that. I understand it wasn't the best talent in the world, but it's still something to hang your hat on if you're a Vanderbilt fan, and a reason to look forward to 2021 as maybe being able to pull a few surprises in the SEC. On to Tennessee. Tennessee is a team I've been tough on for obvious reasons why. Most notably, not that I have anything against Tennessee fans or just Tennessee in general. I'm very agitated and upset by the fact that my Gamecocks have dropped 2 games in a row to Tennessee, and I feel like both years we had the better team. I just do. I felt like South Carolina was more talented on both sides of the ball, defensively especially, than Tennessee. South Carolina was more talented defensively last year than a lot of teams, just based upon the number of individuals that we had going in the NFL draft. Tells me that they weren't utilized, developed, or motivated properly at South Carolina. But this little segment's about Tennessee. Josh Heupel coming in, everywhere he's been able to exploit that wide receiver position and that quarterback position to pick up a ton of points. Now, granted, Tennessee doesn't exactly have a hotbed of talent up there right now at the wide receiver or quarterback position, but he's been able to work with what he's had in the past. He's been able to work with what he's had in the past. At UCF, I mean, things were kind of going down under him a little bit, I feel like, from the Scott Frost era. But, I mean, I don't know if that's really so much on him or it's just on the ebb and flow of recruiting. Because if you look at it in Florida, when Scott Frost was there late the 2016, 2017-ish, and 18, or 17, I think was his last year. Anyway, Florida was kind of floundering at the time. Even though they were winning SEC East championships under Jim McElwain, they weren't the powerhouse that they were under Urban Meyer. They were kind of backsliding a little bit. I feel like some of that talent maybe crept into UCF there where it wouldn't normally have. And Florida had started improving by the time Heupel had taken over as head coach at UCF. So maybe there's a little bit of that. Not exactly sure, but I think that he's going to do some exciting things on the offensive side of the football at Tennessee. I think that you've lost a couple of decent running backs to the transfer portal, that being Ty Chandler and Eric Gray, which was a huge blow in my opinion. I thought Gray was a really talented player. You lost some offensive linemen, so there again, you're going to have to be able to get the ball out of the quarterback's hand quick. You're going to have to run hurry-up offense a lot of the time, and I think Heupel's just the guy to do that, get that instilled there at Tennessee. I think you could pull some surprises in the win-loss column. On to my South Carolina Gamecocks. They're talking about, such a void of talent, blah, blah, blah. The last half of South Carolina's season last year to me was just a lost cause. As leading up to the Will Muschamp firing, I think a lot of the players had quit. And then obviously after his firing, a lot more quit, not just in terms of their attitude and work ethic. They quit legitimately, left the team, in a couple of future NFL players. So you have that. I'm not trying to make any excuses here, but the outcome of a few of those games down the stretch I felt like would have been a little bit different had there been a little bit more buy-in. The situation had been different. One of the bright spots was Kevin Harris. Guy rushed for 1,138 yards and 15 touchdowns last year. Came out of nowhere. Marshawn Lloyd, high 4-star, low 5-star, depending on what recruiting site you want to look at, was supposed to be the starting running back in 2020. Something freaky happened the first day of camp, which was, put off, like a month or so last year due to the heebie-jeebie virus. And very first day, non-contact drill. Guy tears up his ACL. He can't play all year, and he's just now starting to really get over it and being able to work out like he should be able to. Kevin Harris steps in out of nowhere, 15 touchdowns, 1,138 yards on the ground. A lot of people were going to say, well, he picked up a lot of yards against Ole Miss and Vanderbilt. Guess what? Almost every team in the damn SEC played Ole Miss and Vanderbilt. Alabama played Ole Miss. Najee Harris did outrush Kevin Harris at the end of the year, but he also played in 3 more games. Look out for that. That's going to be a 2, if not 3-headed monster at running back there, because we also have 2 young men, Zaquandra White and Rashad Amos, who both showed a lot of flashes in spring, especially Zaquandra White, who has a motor that they say just won't stop. The wide receiver position is going to be a little bit problematic for South Carolina. I feel like the experience there, the depth is just not there, but if you find 3 decent wide receivers who are serviceable that Luke Doty can get the ball to, they can maybe make some plays in space, I think they'll be okay with this power running game. The defensive back situation is what really scares me a lot. You play a lot of teams who are going to air the ball out, and when they're able to exploit your weaknesses, which I think there are going to be several of, it could be a long day at the office. We may need to get that running game tuned up just a notch, because I think we may be involved in some shootouts. Hopefully they're not one-sided shootouts, if you know what I'm saying. Defensive line is also a strength for the Gamecocks. Kingsley J.J. Enigbare. I don't know why it is, but everybody likes to say his full name. I like it too. Kingsley J.J. Enigbare, a young man out of the Atlanta area. He's a projected first-round draft pick in the 2022 cycle. Guy's, got a motor that doesn't stop, and sometimes he doesn't know when to kind of pull back. He's got himself some unsportsmanlike penalties in the past. Did improve on that in 2020. Let's see if he can take up a notch in 2021. That's another reason for optimism for the South Carolina Gamecocks. Defensive line. The back seven concerns me. The front four, I have no qualms with. Moving on down the line, the Mizzou Tigers, a team that I picked to finish second in the SEC East. I know everybody thinks I'm crazy, but there are reasons for that. You have a returning quarterback in Connor Bazelak, who kind of came out of nowhere last year when everybody thought Sean Robinson, the starter from TCU from a couple years ago, was going to be your incumbent. He gets hurt. He's really not productive for you. In steps Bedazzled Sack, as they call him in Mizzou land, and he did some good things. Now, he's losing Damon Hazelton, who was a transfer portal guy from Virginia Tech. Jalen Knox, I believe, is the name of one of your wide receivers that did a decent job for you last year. You also have Tyler Beatty, who's going to have to step up and replace Larry Roundtree III at your running back position. I think he'll do a decent job for you as well. He's good at catching the ball out of the backfield. Mizzou's offense should be okay. How will they be able to replace Nick Bolton, an all-everything linebacker from Mizzou? We'll see. But I believe that offense is, and the schedule is really kind of backloaded. Your first 7 games, I mean, you have the potential to be 7-0. You really do have a weak schedule, not, the SEC portion of it. You've got some kind of softies in the first part of the season, and you don't play a team that's probably going to be nationally ranked until week 7 at home against Texas A&M. You go 6-0 into that game, Mizzou is going to be a top 15 team, in my opinion. So there's a lot of optimism there. The schedule and your returning quarterback, I think, gives Mizzou fans a lot of reason for optimism going into 2021. Kentucky, no real huge names jump out at you there. It's going to be a battle at the quarterback position between a lot of guys you've never really heard of. At running back, Chris Rodriguez is a guy who I think finished either 4th or 5th last year in the SEC in rushing, and he did it without playing Ole Miss and Vanderbilt. Oh, well, guess what? He played Ole Miss and Vanderbilt too. But no, seriously, Chris Rodriguez, a good running back. They're really strong on both lines of scrimmage, and to me, I've always said that's the key to a good football team. If you have a good, strong offensive line that can create some push, that can create some separation, and maybe, give a running back who is, maybe not as talented as the guy on the other side of the ball there, just that one other split second, to escape that linebacker, just that one little split second. That's all they need sometimes to spring what would normally be a 3-yard gain into a 7 and 8 yard gain, and then all of a sudden you've got 150 more yards on the other team, and you're beating them by 2 touchdowns on the scoreboard. That's the kind of thing that happens when you have that good push up front on the offensive line. Defensively, same thing. Takes pressure off your linebackers, allows them to make plays, makes it very difficult for opposing offenses to move the ball against you with a lot of success. Kentucky's lines of scrimmage are strong. Their non-conference schedule, as usual, is pretty weak. I don't know, really what Kentucky's always doing with the non-conference schedule. They play a lot of MAC teams there. You play Louisville, which is, your in-state rival. They changed coaches, and it hasn't really worked out to be a huge success for them. So, I'm pretty sure you can go 4-0 in the non-conference there at Kentucky. If you can just win 2 SEC games, which I think you obviously will, you're headed to a bowl game again. and 3 or 4 more SEC wins is not out of the question. I think Kentucky wins either 7 or 8 games. Georgia, the Bulldogs. This is the team with obviously the most reason for optimism in the SEC East. It's not even close. The additions of Eric Gilbert at the tight end position, highly recruited kid out of LSU. Did a few good things last year. And Darion Kendrick over on the defensive side of the football, transfer from Clemson. Despite the fact that he's had a lot of off-the-field issues, is a great player and can make some plays for you there, and it lends a huge helping hand to a position room that was, kind of defeated a little bit. Not defeated, kind of depleted, and was probably the weakness of the team if there was one. You recruited really well, finishing number 1, 2, or 3 in recruiting for the last God knows how many years. I don't have enough to put it on both hands. Zamir White and James Cook, those playmakers coming back, along with JT Daniels, and, a bevy of wide receivers, which, yes, you've lost George Pickens, but you still got a lot of talent over there in that wide receiver room. This will be Kirby's most lethal offense so far. We don't really put Georgia offense and the word lethal in the sentence together too often, but this year's crew definitely has the potential to be just that. Your schedule outside of your first game against Clemson is very manageable. You draw Arkansas from the SEC West, which is a rebuilding program that had a little success last year under Sam Pittman. Obviously not world beaters. Definitely a hell of a lot better than having to play Texas A&M or Alabama. You also play Auburn, another team that's undergoing a rebuilding job. Look for Georgia fans to have plenty to cheer about down in Sanford Stadium in 2021. Finally, the Florida Gators. Lots of losses there. A lot of losses to the NFL. A few transfer portal issues too. But make no mistake about it, Dan Mullen knows how to run an offense. He knows how to craft an offense, and I believe he knows how to make the most out of the players that he's got. Have they recruited great? No. They've recruited well. And now they really have a solid running back room, which you haven't seen at Florida in quite some time. Along with the incumbent players, you also bring in DeMarcus Bowman, a transfer from Clemson. Played there for about 3 games last year before he finally just hung it up. I mean, he was stuck behind a logjam of players, but, I think he should have been patient and waited his time out. He was a former 5-star out of the state of Florida. Really don't get why he left Clemson. I mean, I guess just Dabo and Tony Elliott and all those guys probably hold the secret to that one. But DeMarcus Bowman will be a huge addition for the Florida Gators on that side of the ball. Emory Jones, while, a lot of people besmirch his passing ability, he adds a little bit of a dynamic to your offense, which you haven't had in the past. He can break away and gain some yards out of the pocket. I believe the defense, not going to be great, but it'll be solid this year. So the running back room and the addition of Emory Jones at quarterback, which he's been there for a while. He's going to take the reins over this year, though, unless he ends up getting beat out for whatever reason. He adds a different dynamic to your offense and adds something that Florida opponents haven't generally seen in the past. So those are my reasons for optimism for all 7 teams in the SEC East, guys. If you agree with what I'm saying, please hit this with a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Click the little bell for notifications so that you get all the Carolina Jackpot content as soon as I upload it. We're going to do a lot more college football content here over the summer, and then when it gets to be fall, you can watch along with me and my South Carolina Gamecocks and watch me have lots of meltdowns. I appreciate it, guys. I will see y'all later. Thanks for watching. Peace. I'm out. Go Gamecocks and go Coach Beamer.